Alright, today I'm going to be showing you my Palstar AT Auto. This tuner hadn't been out for a while. I've had this one since about 2010. It was one of the last ones that came out after Palstar switched over to the HF Auto. This tuner now is taken care of, and the rights to it are owned by Kessler Engineering, and I'll put a link in the description to them. But anyhow, they had a couple versions of this thing, so and if you buy one of these, they very seldom come up, but if they do, you want to try to get the current one. The current one, if you notice, it's got one red button and 3 gray buttons. The older version was all red buttons, and the main difference is whether or not it's got the QRO option in it. In other words, the option to break the push to talk while it's tuning. Now you can add that, but if you want one that's factory and the most current one that has the firmware and everything in it, find one with the 3 gray buttons. This thing, I have it hooked up to my Flex, and it'll right now we're on 75 meters. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna switch to 20 meters, and you'll see I have it in the memory, and you see it's QS to 14248, and it'll make you wait. But now during that time, with the QRO with the push to talk hooked in there, then it'll disconnect that, so you can't tune up your amplifier while that's changing. This one here recently became a little bit noisy, and again, I've had this since 2010. It's a beautiful tuner, but I've never done any maintenance on it, and what it needs is the roller inductor greased up, and to do that you have to mix some lithium grease along with some graphite, and they tell you to mix it up kind of like a toothpaste consistency. So I'm going to get some of that out here and show you how that's done, and then we'll open the tuner up and take a look at it. Okay, so here's the white lithium grease and the graphite that we're going to use to lube the inside of this tuner up, the roller inductor. And both these can be had at Napa Auto Parts, is where I bought them. But what you want to do is take some of the white lithium grease. You don't need a lot, but since I got so much, I'll put out enough here to where we can get it going. And we're going to put some, this is just powdered graphite, so we're going to add a pretty good amount in there, and then we're going to start mixing this up. Now you want to get this gray and they say a toothpaste consistency. Now the reason that you're putting the graphite in there is because the surface that it's gonna go on has to conduct to the wheel, and you'll see that in just a minute when we get inside the tuner. That's not too bad there, but I'm gonna add a little bit more. Now you can, if you want, you can buy this stuff directly from Palstar, already mixed up. They sell, you can go on their website and see they sell little packets of it, but I didn't want to wait. All right, so you'll see that I have the cover off the tuner, and it's just gorgeous inside, just gorgeous. He even makes the capacitors there. He has somebody down the street cut the plates for him. He assembles them there. I think that's why this stuff is just such high quality, amount of time that Paul puts into it, and he tests everything himself before it goes out the door. I don't know what we're gonna do once he's gone. This is a toroid back here for the balance line antenna, should you decide to use it. I guess I ought to show you the back of the tuner. Like I said, I got everything disconnected from it, but it's except I still have the power connected, and you'll see why in a little bit. We have to go in and manually move the roller inductor around, putting the stuff on it, but it's got the power goes in here. The RS-232, I use it connected to my flex. It's just got 1 in, 10 in, 1 output here, and the balanced output. I've seen some mods where some people take the balanced output out and hook in a second coax connector, because you can tell it which one you want it to come up on. It's got a CIV port for operating the ICOMs. This is the push to talk option that comes on the more current model to kill the push to talk line going to the amp when you're tuning. But anyhow, you can just see just how nice everything is. Even the meters are you know, made in USA. You see the control board up front, and the stepper motors that move everything. It's totally automatic. You know, just look at the quality, how he's got the wiring all laid out through there. What we're going to do, this is the roller inductor, and I'll point to the grease here. This wheel goes around, it makes contact with the roller inductor, and also has to electrically make contact with this guy. Now there is a couple of switches you'll notice at each end. These are micro switches that the wheel hits, so it knows when they're at the stop. What needs to be done is this grease needs to be cleaned off, and then new grease put on. So give me just a minute and I'll show you how that's done. Alright, so what we're going to do first is we're going to take a napkin saturated with some alcohol, and we're going to clean all that oil off of here. Alright, that's pretty easy to get off this end here. Now, to get it off the other end, we are going to have to power the tuner up, and once we power the tuner up, we're going to put it in manual mode. And once we have it in manual mode, you can turn the roller. You'll see I'm turning it now. If you have this tuner, you'll know how to put it in manual mode, so I'm not going to show the front panel how I'm doing it, because I have to move the camera around. But you'll know you just punch the wheel in. So we're going to go ahead and get this wiped off on here. I guess if you really want to, you can get with a Q-tip and get down there on the bottom and wipe it off too. But I'm not going to go to that much trouble. Now, what we're going to need to do is take some of our lithium grease here that we mixed up earlier. We're just going to put it on a Q-tip. And they tell you when you do this that more is not better. So you really don't have to put a lot. And we're going to work it in a minute by moving the wheel back and forth. So I think that's going to be enough. So I'm going to go ahead and get the camera situated. I'm going to go ahead and move this all the way down to one end, and you'll see it's going to work its way in on the it's working its way on the shaft where it coats the shaft, and it'll make good contact because of the fact that it's got that graphite in with it. And you don't want to mix it anywhere else. You don't want to let it go down there and touch the stop either, otherwise you won't be able to go get it going back in manual mode again. So we're going to go the other way, all the way down to the other end, and let it work its way on the shaft down there. And again, I don't want to hit that stop down there. If you hit that stop, then it gets a little more difficult to get this thing going again. Not that big a deal, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go down. We're going to stop right before that wheel hits the micro switch. I'm going to go back and work it the other way one more time just to get it down the shaft so it's covered the whole way. Alright, go all the way down again. And this is all covered in the manual. If you get the manual off the Kessler Engineering site, he goes in detail on how to do this. So if you have this tuner, Mr. Kessler has updated the manual. So there you go. That's pretty well that part. Now, give me just a second, and we'll get back in the front here, and I'm gonna turn this thing off, and I'm gonna turn it back on so it. There we go. It's back in auto mode, and I'm gonna go ahead and hook my cable back up for the flex. Let me get it around here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook the RS-232 cable from my flex back up to it, and that way I can change frequency and work this thing back and forth. So the flex is on 20 meters, so it's homing it, or it's going to that frequency on for 20 meters now. So you can take it down there and get to this end, and then I guess I can go click it back up to 75 meters. And work it back the other way. Alright, so we're backing on. I'm not going to do a full review of this tuner. My main point in showing this tuner was how to get in there and grease up the roller inductor, assuming you already have one of these. The same method would be used for the HF Auto or the manual tuners, any of his roller inductors. The main thing is you just have to mix that graphite in there.